Hello and welcome to video 3, the final video of our Intro to Qualtrics series. In this video, we're going to talk about how to distribute surveys, some survey options and customization, and then how to download the raw survey responses in different formats. So I'm going to go back to our survey. We previewed it, we made sure everything works right for the logic. So now what we can do is I'm going to show you how to distribute the survey. So under distributions, I'm going to go ahead and click on that, and you can choose from these different options. A lot of times you might be having this be an anonymous survey. If that's the case, you can get a single reusable link, and then if you click on the anonymous link, you can copy this and then share this. This is the anonymous survey link that you can share for websites, for emails, and so forth. It is unable to track identifying information from respondents because it is anonymous. Now that being said, though, Qualtrics will still collect geographical locations, so longitude, latitude, and the internet ISP number as well, or IP address. So what we're going to do is we're going to actually change that around. So right now, we have data collection because we've clicked on that link. If you ever want to pause it, you can go ahead and click on Pause Collections, and that will halt it. If you want to resume, you go ahead and click on that Resume option. So that's how you kind of start and stop this. So that survey link will generate, which can then be pasted. Now, if you don't want the IP address and longitude latitude, go back over to Survey, and then click on Survey Options. If you want to have them be able to go back and forth, you can actually add a back button here. You can, so if it's by invitation, you can actually prevent people from taking this using an anonymous link if you wanted to. We'll leave this as open access. If you wanted to add a password to be able to take the survey, you can add that too. Prevent ballot stuffing. So this uses a form of cookies with the survey to prevent individuals from taking this more than once. You can change the end of the message too for completions if you'd like. So you can use custom, and you can actually create custom message. And then if you click on anonymize responses, that's going to remove the collection of the IP address and longitude and latitude. So we're going to go ahead and we make this completely anonymous. And now because we've published it, we need to go ahead and we need to make changes to it because it is active. Whenever you make changes now at this point, you see this yellow bar, you need to click publish. Otherwise, those changes will not occur. So you got to make sure you do that. So in distribution, let's say you want to do emails. So you could go ahead and choose email survey option. And then you can go ahead and select, so you'd have to create a contact list. You would write in names, email addresses, and then that way you can actually have it submit in like a certain amount of days. Subject line, and then this has all the information for the survey. This allows you to then distribute it using an email. So I'm going to cancel out of this. We also have social media. So if you wanted to put this onto, if you wanted to tweet this, it'll take you to the login information, and then you can actually have a pop-up for the survey as well. So there's a bunch of different options here. Let me go back into our survey. There's also some additional options here for look and feel. So we've been using the standard American University theme. There are some different options you can have here too in terms of the different options. So we have style. Looks like we actually have all these disabled, so you're going to be using just the current American University one, but you can, for each of the different schools, each school has their own template that you can use. So we have communications, we have SIS, we have CAS, we have our CTRL logo. So you can actually select if you're using, let's say this is from SPA. You can actually make sure it's that rather than the generic AU one. So you can actually change some of the look and feels to this. I'm going to go ahead and put this as CTRL because that's where I work. So I'm going to publish this, make that change. And now let's say that you've collected all your responses. So we're going to mimic that. This is a good way to test the system. So if you want to make sure if you have a lot of skip logic and you go through everything, you can also have Qualtrics generate simulated responses. It is going to be kind of just completely random. So I click on Review, Generate Test Responses, and I'm going to choose 20. Now, you would not use these in any sort of analytics. These are just ways to test your survey. So I'm going to start the test. It's all set. And now we have a couple of options. If we click on Reports, this gives you a breakdown, because it is random, so went ahead and how many people went through and selected. And one thing we forgot to do here too in our survey, this first question, it should be required. So I'm going to go ahead and publish that. I'm going to go ahead and generate a couple more responses. There we go. So there we go. So we have, you can click on each of your different questions, and it will give you the bar charts as well as the frequency tables. This is assuming all of the responses in there. Now you might clean these, so those numbers might change. You can also click on, if you wanted to export these reports, you click on either Word, PDF. I'd go click on Word, and you can actually select which ones you want to choose from. And if you export pages, it's going to go ahead and generate a PDF for you. I'm just going to wait a few seconds for this to finish up. The more respondents and the more questions you have, the longer this will take to generate. Now I'm going to go ahead and stop that for now. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you now how to export and download the results to be able to start analyzing it into another software. So if you click on Data and Analysis tab, this has a short preview option. And we have that 38 the test responses that we've created, plus the view ones, or the preview. I'm going to click on Export and Import, and I'm going to export the data. There's a couple of different file formats you have. If you're using SPSS, this has the option here. If you're using something like Stata, you can also do XML, which works out pretty well for Stata. There's also the CSV, so if you're using R, Python, SPSS, you can also use CSV. There's Excel too. Now, with some of these options, you'll either ask for numeric or choice text. Choice text will be printing out strongly agree, strongly disagree, not the numerical values associated. If you choose numeric, it's not going to have those value labels. If you do something like SPSS, it will have both those because it allows you to toggle back and forth. Most likely you'll probably be using SPSS or a CSV file. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to download it as a CSV file. And I'm going to go ahead and choose numerical values. So it's downloaded in a zip folder. I'm going to open it up. Let me just go ahead and extract it. Okay, so this has our different information. So we have our start and end dates that's automatically recoded. Because we've disabled IP and any other personalized information, that's out. We can see that our first three, those are actually in our preview that we tested. We have our test responses. Again, all of it's going to be, for the random ones, completely gibberish here. But that way we can make sure, okay, does it make sense? So if they selected 2 from such one of the following, this is our consent form. So if they have a 2, they're kicked out. If they have a 1, they continued on. And notice this one for age of 17, they dropped out here too. So all this looks great. Then you can go ahead and import this into what statistical program that you want to use, or you can keep it within Excel here too. If you're importing into another one, you will want to remove rows 2 and 3 before you import. Now, we've created this random questions in there, or those random responses. How do you get rid of those? That way, you know that all the responses, they're not the test ones. To do that, click on Tools. Then you want to click on Delete Data. I'm going to go ahead and get rid of the previews. I'll hide that. So it's going to take a little bit of time. And I'm going to go ahead and get rid of the tests there too. And so it's going to take a little bit of time for it to process, but I'll clear this out so we're ready to go. So we talked about how to distribute tests, or these responses, how to download them, look at reports. I do want to mention one other thing. So we've only covered the basics. If you go to qualtrics.com/support/survey-platform, this is the user's guide online from Qualtrics that has a variety of different options, from more information about different project options to different survey options. You can also look at, okay, if you wanted to, for survey options, we can go ahead and see all the different ones that we have in there, a little bit more detail. Like let's say we wanted to look at different survey tools. The question types too, we can go ahead and look at how to use skip logic. We can also look at how to use JavaScript. So this walks you through step by step all the different options. So this is a phenomenal resource. This concludes this video series. I hope this was helpful.